Hello, welcome to another home bar and pub shed sessions. It's Jimbo here, and once again, I'm very, very pleased to say that we have got another home bar today on our podcast with us, another pub shed and home bar, and it's a fairly new member of the community as well. So very exciting that they're joining us today. So let's not wait any longer. I'm going to now introduce Carl from the Beer Here Now Pub Shed. Hi, mate. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thanks. Thanks for having me on.
No worries. Good stuff. So, Carl, welcome to the community because you are pretty new to our pub shed community. It was only a few weeks ago or so that we featured your bar as a home bar, but I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's only really been finished since I'd say just before Christmas. So, it took about 9 months to build. And then the finishing touches were done over just over the winter, just before the winter there.
Yeah. So I mean, you're in County Durham, is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Northeast County Durham.
And the first thing that stands out about your bar, if anyone was just to sort of look at, at the pictures and stuff like that, is the obvious theme that's running. Well, there's two kind of themes, but the big theme really is the memorabilia in terms of the music memorabilia, which I've just put up on screen for our YouTube viewers. It's a great looking bar, but the music thing, and obviously your love of Oasis, and I'm guessing Britpop, that kind of that sort of era of music as well. Is that kind of the basis of your bar, really?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I think we mentioned. I think you mentioned on when you featured the shed as home bar of the week. Took me a bit of time to sort of come up with a theme. We were originally going to have it as like a sort of shisha lounge sort of feel with this sort of lighting that you see in the pictures. But when I started to unpack the boxes of stuff that I collected over the years, there was just tons of Oasis stuff. I've loved Oasis since the start, since I was a teenager, really, in the 1995 when they were first really about. I was sort of 13, 14 years old, so collected a lot of stuff over the years. And then since doing this, once you theme a bar, believe me, people who've got stuff that relates to that theme give you stuff. So I've got like a 6 foot by 2 foot bus stop poster that I haven't even got any room on the wall to fit, that someone just randomly gave me. My mother-in-law gave me some sort of stuff from when she worked in Woolworths about 30 years ago, Beatles posters from selling albums, and there's just almost no room anymore. So it's good. I changed stuff around quite a lot. So,
well, that's the beauty of it. You'll be able to take things down, put new things up, swap it about a little bit and stuff. I absolutely love it though. I mean, obviously you've picked up a lot of memorabilia since having your bar and all that kind of thing, but where was all this stuff before then? What did you do with it before?
A lot of it's quite new. Some stuff I've had for like 20 plus years. So there's guitars hung on the wall there. I've got like an Epiphone Supernova, so Noel Gallagher's signature guitar for Epiphone. It's been signed by a member of the band, so original member of Oasis, Bonehead, signed it recently. Had that. Obviously, I worked away for a lot of years, sort of around the world in various roles, and had little bars set up in places that I lived. So I lived in Europe, a couple of countries in Europe, and I set up a garage bar in Belgium. Some of the stuff was up in there. A lot of this stuff, I've still got boxes full of stuff. The sort of theme in Belgium was very different. It was mainly beer and drinking.
Yeah.
So when I come home, this is sort of my just safe space, really. Just a nice, happy place. And I wanted to walk in the door and it'd be stuff that I really enjoyed seeing and enjoyed doing. So
it's great because I bet there's some stuff that, like you said, probably was just sort of like packed away and you couldn't really see it or look at it every day because obviously when you store things, you kind of tuck them away, don't you? But now you've got your own little museum now, basically, haven't you?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, it's great, and everyone comes around absolutely loves it. So every piece is sort of a conversation piece, and like I said, people just giving me stuff. That wasn't the reason for theming it, but it's good. I really enjoy it.
So you say obviously your home bar experience actually started in Belgium. You had a bar there, didn't you? So what is that something that started there, and then you felt when you was back in the UK you needed something at home as well, sort of thing?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, I can't remember how it came about. I think Belgium was just a big. We're in a community where, where we're very sociable, and the garage I wasn't really using, so started with putting a dartboard up over there and a perfect draft pump, and the kegs of perfect draft over there at the time were like €16, so it was a no-brainer to a Jupiler on tap. I mean, that's my favourite sort of Belgian lager, which I'm sure we'll come on to later. But me and a few of the guys, and then it just as these things do, it just the garage bar where it just grew legs really, and and then we sort of like through that we knew that when we eventually settled down back in England that it was one of the considerations. So this is the house that I've got is quite a new build. Garden was north facing, very. I think there's some pictures on my Instagram before I built the bar. The garden didn't get any sun, so I just picked a corner of the garden and I thought, right, I'll get a 16 by. I think this is 5 by 3 meter shed in that corner because it just wasn't being used, and then it went from there. So from first spade in the ground to finish, it was about exactly a year.
Oh wow! So you spent a lot of time, and it's good that you've joined us now and you've found us all now. But if you'd have known we were there all the way through, would have been spurring you on and cheering you on your way.
This is a genuinely funny story. So I didn't know it, but I've been following you for a while. I haven't. I think I intentionally, back in the day, was following sort of pub sheds and stuff. But I didn't know, but I was on my dog's Instagram. So my dog, like Blue Staffy, has more followers than me, my wife, and my daughter put together. So my dog was following Ale and Audio podcast. It's just been following for a while. But recently I thought I sort of changed my Instagram from like personal to everyone was sort of saying, put some shots of it. It became like bar shots all the time. So I delinked it from my Facebook and sort of just use it for the bar really now.
No, it's great to see it because it's a great bar to show off because it really does look great. I mean, a few more pictures up there, but you obviously did a lot of the work yourself. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I ordered the shed and with the sort of PVC windows and doors, and it was meant to be built. I was aware of work at the time, and it was a company from the West Midlands came up. I won't name them, but they came up and they basically said that your base isn't level enough. We won't build it. So I was aware of work, nothing I could do, and they basically left 4 or 5 grand's worth of wood and PVC windows just laid in my garden. And so a few days later, I got back and with a joiner, a couple of friends who had joiners and my brother, and threw it up in a day or so, and that was the shell of it. And then I've had some help from a couple of mates who are joiners and stuff, and who then I did a lot of it on my own. I'd say first the sort of shell of it went up in October 22. Through that winter, I sort of started adding first fit wire and insulation, and then in the sort of spring, last spring, sort of spring of 23, sort of I helped a joiner, and we used plywood to sort of do the sort of internal cladding to get a nice finish on the walls, and I'm surrounded by neighbours, so I've used sort of rock wool acoustic. I didn't have too much room with 60 mil acoustic or something like that, but it seems to work. I had no complaints.
Oh, that's good. I mean, I was going to ask about that because the insulation makes all the difference. Not just for keeping the heating and stuff, which it is amazing at that, but also keeping the sound in. And I mean, unfortunately, I've got insulation here. Again, it's not that thick because I've just used I've got an old shed, and I did the thing we put the plywood over the top of the insulation, leave the gap and all that. But obviously I'm belting out parody songs in here for the show each week, so the neighbours must be thinking, what is he doing? But yeah, it looks great in there though. What was the most? What would you say was the most challenging part of the build for you?
Don't know really. Probably just getting it finished. So once it was watertight, it's very easy to be, especially if you're working. It's very easy to be a bit lazy, and so it was sort of sat. The other thing was as well, it was great to. I think anyone who's built a pub shed will acknowledge it. Is when you're building it, you've sort of got your own workshop. So I had like saws and benches, and I'm like, now I miss that. So I'm really now the plan is to clear the garage out and put in like a workbench and have all of that and start to do some work in the house as well. And it's a good building a pub shed's a good way of practicing a few trades if you want to save a bit of money in your house as well. So there's stuff I've done in here that I would have never dared do in the house. But
now you'll have a go. Now you might have a go at it, sort of thing, after you've tried it in there.
Yeah, there was. I can't think of any real difficult part. It was that I'd say that just being left with a flat pack shed, was the worst. I mean, like I had to lay the felt roof myself. Never done one in my life. Covered in blackjack, sticky stuff, all of that, and but it's all part of the experience. I think really blood, sweat, and tears literally involved in the whole build.
That's it. And the name, so you've already sort of mentioned that you'd not really got a name for it, but then it was a gift. Was it from your daughter or something? Was it this neon sign that you've got? I can see behind you.
See that behind me? Yeah. So my daughter bought me that for Christmas. She was sick of me. I was trying to. I'm one of them, like sort of indecisive Carl. I think I call myself a lot of the time. Can't really make my mind up. Trying to come up with something really, really clever, and in the end, my daughter's like, "Well, wait and see what you get for Christmas. You'll probably find it's been named then." So, and actually, it's good. I mean, Be Here Now. It's the album is probably one of my favorites from 1997. Be Here Now, and it goes with the theme and
it's like, perfect. And
exactly.
it's unique, it's simple, and it just says exactly what it is, doesn't it? And like I say, it matches that theme perfectly. So, and obviously the other thing we need to talk about is your passion for darts, because you've got a great dartboard in there.
Yeah, that's only really come about recently. So I did play darts a little bit in Belgium in a very informal sort of international sort of league. It was really an excuse to drink on a Monday night. And then I hadn't really picked up a dart since probably about then, 2018, until I built the bar, and it was, I think I got it on the wall last summer through a few, and then obviously in the new year there with Luke Littler and all of that, and everyone's sort of getting back into darts. I've taken it on board. I've got quite a few friends who've got back into it, so we've now got the sort of Premier League dart schedule, and we're scheduling sort of meetups and a few games during the Premier League dart season. So I think it's on a Thursday night that the Premier League runs.
Yeah,
and, the first one was on Friday, just gone there. 2 minutes before the first dart was thrown, I actually got my first 180, legit. First one, 180, 2 minutes before it came on the TV, and I've been nowhere near since. I think my next score, my next score after that was 22. I think it's back to normal. So, but yeah, good practice makes perfect. Hopefully,
you look younger than Luke Litter as well, mate.
That's
like, he has like a, reignited a lot of people's love for darts. I mean, it's always popular this time of year anyway, isn't it? Because of the sort of the tournaments when they've started and built up and everything. But yeah, it's really good to see that you're enjoying that, and your guests clearly love the place. I know there's plenty of. I mean, I do like the fact that you manage to get so many shots of people enjoying the bar, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? So how have your guests found it, and your family obviously as well?
Well, as you can see there, it's just what we learned in Belgium was from having the bar in Belgium, and a lot of your listeners will probably agree, is that when you've got the pub shed and you have people around, it's good because you can basically close the door and sort of forget about the mess for a couple of days. Your house doesn't get trashed. So you can come in and tidy up once your hangover's passed, and your house is still nice and tidy. So it's good to have that space. But yeah, they all love it. Like I said, my main worry, like with a lot of sheddies, is disturbing the neighbours or whatever. But I've had no complaints. We sort of try to be sensible. We have the odd night, but who doesn't?
That's it. Yeah,
we've had that in the house anyway. So
I have a little 11 o'clock rule where I kind of just drop the music a little bit at 11. But yeah, I mean, and like I say, I think as long as you consider it, it's always all right, isn't it? And yeah, I mean, and also I know you mentioned it's nice to kind of have that own space. It's your bit of escape and stuff. I don't know if you find like me, it's actually the tidiest room in the house in terms of everything's got its own place in here. There's nothing out of place. I know where everything is. It's and I think the wife gets a bit annoyed at me because like she wishes I could transfer that energy into the house, but everything in here is mine, so I know everything goes. That kind of thing.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think again, it is sort of like it's almost like being a teenager and having your own bedroom again, and sort of maybe that's not a good example, but
treating it better than you did when you were a teenager. Yeah,
your own space, and but yeah, it's pretty immaculate to be honest. Usually,
yeah. It looks really smart. And obviously, let's get on to talking about beer then, because I'm guessing obviously you're into your Belgian beers because clearly, obviously, you spent a lot of time there, and obviously you must have got a taste for it there as well. So is that the kind of thing you tend to go for?
Yeah, I mean, a few of the listeners I could see have scrolled back through my Instagram, and actually I couldn't remember doing it, but because Belgium was a bit of a blur, funnily enough, the strength of the beer over there, but. I used to go for a lot of the Trappist beers in Belgium, and so I was there between 2016, 2018. So I've got a bit of beer knowledge, not massive amounts, but a love for it. One of my favourite places to go is Delirium in Brussels, which I'm sure, again, a few of the listeners at least have been to. At one point, I was like a tour guide in there to sort of Chinese tourists because they're just looking at this huge board. There's over 2,000 beers available in that one establishment. There was at the time that I was there. The list just horrendous, and then you sort of stood in the main bar, and this board probably got over 100 on it. And I just started recommending bits to these tourists, and they'd probably buy you a pint, you know what I mean, out of it. And it wasn't cheap either, so. But yeah, and then in general, sort of like as a lager over there, just a normal, believe it or not, like Stella's known as a sort of as a woman's drink. All right, not being sexist, but within my community anyway that I was with it. And Jupiler was the lads' drink. The sort of sponsors the Belgian sort of Premier League football sort of. It did at the time. I don't know if it does now, but just loved it and got a great appreciation for beer. Whereas in the UK, we probably didn't have that much at the time.
And obviously the music. I mean, it's a silly question, really, but what kind of things might you expect to hear when you're walking on a Friday or Saturday night in the Beer Here Now pub shed?
Well, I mean, I know it's themed Oasis, obviously. So, and I am a massive Oasis fan, naturally. So you'll get Oasis on the playlist for sure. And then but really, sort of like you said at the start, Britpop sort of era. So the Verve, one of my favorite bands, Richard Ashcroft, a lot of his solo stuff. The older stuff, like the influences of the Oasis and stuff. Paul Weller and the Jam and that sort of stuff. I'm seeing Paul Weller sort of twice live this year coming up, actually. And all of the sort of Manchester sort of scene, sort of Stone Roses, Beatles, a proper hammer. Really love the Wings, Paul McCartney and Wings from the 70s, because that's sort of what my dad's sort of favourite stuff. I've got his old vinyl, actually, because he hasn't got a record player. So I've got his old Beatles White Album. I've got a few of his Wings records. And so when he was around at Christmas, I think he was in one of the photos there.
Yeah.
Playing that, and he's just like, great. And it's still got like the posters in. He's 70-year-old now, and it's still got the posters that he used to have up on his bedroom wall in the vinyl. So it's just quality. But into all sorts. I mean, and different genres. So metal music like Metallica, I've seen them live. And at the minute, Chris Stapleton, country singer, huge. I think he just won 2 more Grammys this week. Loving a lot of his stuff. So varied sort of. And then obviously we've got the decks. I've got the
I know
the DJ decks. I try and do sort of indie remixes on there. So that was a lockdown thing, the Pioneer DJ sort of stuff. Got a few friends that are DJs, so they're giving us a lot of sort of digital sort of tracks, and they do a bit of dance sort of stuff, and got quite a few sort of indie and old rock sort of dancey remixes that we get on every now and then. It's not the easiest thing to do when you're drinking, because when you're socialising, trying to mix tracks in, you just every 5 minutes have to mix the next one in. So, but if you can, you can invite someone around. So I got a guy, mate Simon. He came around in that last session that was on there. I think he was in the picture with the headphones on. You just stick someone who sort of knows what they're doing for an hour on there and entertains the people. He's on there on the right there. But really real good mix of tunes, really.
Good stuff. I mean, it sounds like the place to be. I'd certainly enjoy the vibe in there, as it appears all of your visitors and your family do as well. Carl, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you, and I'm looking forward to seeing a lot more on Instagram as obviously time goes on as well. But obviously, as we ask every Sheddy when we get to the end of this, I don't, I kind of know maybe loosely what we might expect or what type of song, but I've not got a clue which one, because I think this was quite a challenge when asking you this. What song most represents you when you're pub shed home bar?
I mean, I think everyone probably. I brought a couple down. I was like, I really did not. I mean, I think you asked me about half an hour ago or whatever, saying I have a think. And there's so many, and obviously naturally someone's gonna they're gonna go, it's Oasis. But I thought back to what we used to play in Belgium, and in Belgium, in the bar there was called the Road to Ruin. We really did, and we had a smoke machine, laser lights, and it was a real dancey sort of bar. And the song we played there quite a lot, the neighbours must have hated us, but was Groove Armada, Super Styling. Real sort of a proper good late night track, dancey sort of song.
And I love it. And the other reason I love it is I don't know if you've got a great music knowledge, so you might remember them. But there was another Sheffield band, still sort of together every now and again, who kind of were unfortunately in the shadow of the Arctic Monkeys, Milburn, and they used to. Well, he's got your second name as well. There we go.
Exactly. Exactly. I'll just grab you. So I'll grab something off the wall. I've got a good.
Oh, look at this! My mates are going to love you because they are absolute diehard Milburn fans.
I had a ton of. So I'm a massive Arctic Monkeys fan as well. Followed them from the start, from before they had the first album out. I think I've got a one in whatever vinyl there. But Milburn, obviously, they used to support them back in the day. That was my surname. My daughter, I had loads of their EPs and old vinyls, and my daughter framed them all together because they weren't really getting a bit of a run out. So it's all the band's signatures. I don't know.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah,
some real good stuff there. Because I was going to just sell it, but she framed it.
Milburn. Yeah, I know plenty of people who buy that off you, I think, to be fair. But no, absolutely brilliant. I love Mill. And I was going to say that they used to walk out to Super Styling. That was their walk-on music.
Oh, right, yeah, you're right. I think that's stuff. I'm trying to think when I've seen them. I think probably seen them at the Lead Mill. But I remember Arctic's doing sort of the O2 Academy in Newcastle back in the day. I can't remember if Milburn was supporting that night, but yeah, I've definitely seen them once or twice over the years.
Brilliant. We've possibly been at the same gigs together, which is probably.
And Reverend the Makers. Is he Sheffield?
Yeah, he is Sheffield. Yeah, I was once on the Reverend and the Makers' shoulders at a gig. That was an Arctic Monkeys gig at the Lead Mill. But yeah, there we go.
I saw him supporting Arctic Monkeys in Cologne in Germany back in the day, 2005, I think. Yeah.
Amazing stuff.
Anyway.
Carl, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm going to get that song on for you, and I'm going to really enjoy it as well. Nice chatting, and take care, mate.
Cheers, Jimbo. Thank you.